Welcome to the Ancient Coin Podcast with Aaron Berk, a show about ancient coins from the viewpoint of a seasoned professional with nearly 30 years' experience. Here's Aaron Berk and Mike Nodelman on the Ancient Coin Podcast.
And the bang of the gong means it is time once again for the Ancient Coin Podcast with Aaron Berk. I'm Mike Nodelman.
I'm Aaron Berk.
There you go. And we are audio perfect tonight. So I'm just going to jinx everything right away. We have for you tonight news in the world of auctions. It's kind of a Christmas show where we got everything for you tonight. So we got a little bit of news in the world of auctions
coming up.
Thank you, God. And it's like we have a pearl of wisdom for you. We have our Doofus purchase. So Aaron, why don't we start with what was it that really sparked your attention this week?
Well, we have the New York International is going to be coming up the second week of January, and it's going to start January 9th, Monday, January 9th.
Huge show.
January 8th. And it's going to go all the way through January 14th. And the very first day of the auction is Heritage on January 8th. But then the Triton sale is January 9th and 10th. That's kind of the big one for the whole week. But there's also the New York sale. There's quite a few sales that whole week. And then Thursday of that week starts the actual show. So I'll be there basically Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday doing auctions, and then Thursday doing setup for the show, and then doing the show Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then go home. Yeah. So it's a long week.
It's a long week. It's a really big show, and there are a lot of people from around the world will be at that show. So
it's true.
Yeah,
it's very true. So I figured I might as well preview the Triton sale, which is going to be January 9th and 10th. It's already up online, and let's talk about a couple of interesting coins in it, Mike.
Hold on just a second. Let's see why we're not getting what we're supposed to get.
Oh.
Yeah. Come on, buddy. There we go. Boom.
Got it?
I can fix anything. All right.
That's a good thing, man.
Yes,
That's a good thing.
Yes,
so the first coin, and guys, I'm going to talk about some expensive coins. We can't afford them. Let's just go to the museum and have some fun. But there's always good deals to be had in every auction. You have to be opportunistic, and you have to have your limits and take your choices, and
pick your spots.
Pick your spots. So, but let's talk about a couple coins we haven't talked about before, which is what we do at this show. Lot 146, Mike. This is the Alexander the Great. It doesn't look pretty, guys, because this is the way they came for this issue. So as Alexander was conquering the world, he made his way all the way to India, and he fought King Porus. And Alexander met his match. And at the end of the day, he didn't really defeat Porus. He sort of did, pretty much did, but then he let Porus stay in power, and he was so impressed with Porus, he let him be a satrap of the region he was already ruling over, and let him issue coins. And so this is actually they call it a 2 shekel or a tetradrachm under Porus. And so
is that an elephant, or is he just happy to see us?
Well, it's an elephant on the reverse.
Just say it. There ain't much of the design left in this coin, or even was ever there.
Right. And, well, the obverse is supposed to be an archer. So, but it's hard to see.
Yeah, it's hard.
And in fact, my company, when we were running our Gemini auctions, we sold this coin in 2006. And along with, we actually had the decadrachm that goes along with this, and 2 tetradrachms, or two of these types. This was one of them, and we sold all 3 of them in that auction. There was a Porus decadrachm that sold 2 years in NAC, a different one that ended up bringing 700,000 Swiss francs.
Wow.
Big
So,
money.
I mean, this has got to be just insanely rare because, I mean, this just doesn't look, I mean, it's got to be
Well,
insanely
I don't
rare.
remember these coming up since the last time we offered it.
Okay.
So you can see Gemini 2,
Have you
whoever
seen
bought it
one
out of
with,
Gemini 2.
have you
What's
seen
that?
one with more of a complete design, more complete elephant?
Yeah, but they do come up, they're probably in museums,
Yeah.
but in general, they were just poorly made. Even the
Okay.
decadrams are not, high grade. If you look, they're in the decadram's in the 100 greatest ancient coins, and that one's actually really cool because you've got King Porus riding an elephant, and on the reverse or on the same obverse, and Alexander the Great is actually fighting him while he's on an elephant, while Porus is on the elephant. It's
Cool.
pretty
Now,
cool,
is that in
actually.
the third edition of 100 Greatest Ancients?
It's
Available
in
now?
all three editions.
Available now? Shameless plug.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're waiting for the books to come in. I know Whitman is already pre-selling them. I've decided not to pre-sell them till we actually get them physically in.
Yeah.
They're going to be $34.95. The advantage from buying from Harlan Burke is that he'll sign every single one of them that
Yep.
goes out.
Yep.
So you can actually request him to put your name on it, and he can sign it to you personally. So that's probably worth the extra couple shekels.
Get one from the man
So
himself.
yeah, exactly. So but this is a very, very cool coin, just for the historical significance of it. If
It's
you
got a
are a lover
long
of
write up on
Alexander,
it.
yeah, if you're a lover of Alexander the Great, this is a coin you have to have.
Wow.
You just have to have. And I wouldn't be surprised if this coin went for 30,000. It may go for 50,000. It's like one of those things that just don't come up very often. And so it's an opportunity to own something that most people can never own.
Okay, so since you and I pay attention to this, I want to play a little game.
Mhm.
And we're going to play over under. You said you think it might go for 30 to 50.
Yeah.
I'm going to play the over. And we'll just have to see how that works out.
Okay. We can come back. I'm obviously going to be following you. I'm going to be at the auction.
Well, that's what
So-
I'm saying. I mean, this is an important coin, so you'll remember.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Let's move on to the next coin. I profiled this. It's not a wonder coin. It's lot 265 in the sale, Mike. And what I really love about this coin, this is the first coin. This is the very first ancient coin ever issued.
Wow.
And it had striated lines on it, as you can see.
Mhm.
And they went from a stater all the way down to, I think, down to this size. This is a 148 stater. This only weighs 0.29 grams.
Yeah, this is tiny.
It's very small, very, very small.
Now this
But-
is it looks like electrum almost, but it's probably
it is
mostly
electrum.
silver.
No, it's electrum.
Okay.
It even says EL, which is the symbol.
Well, I was
for
looking just at
electrum.
the picture and I was showing
Yeah,
you,
I understand.
so-
I got you.
Yeah.
But that's what the first coin looked like, guys, in 650 BC. So
And
that's the
Q's
very
on one
first coin.
side and striations on the other.
Yep. And some people think the striations maybe symbolize water. I don't think anybody really knows what it was supposed to symbolize. Water sounds like a good guess, though.
Looks to me like cornfield.
Well, there's other ones where it's just straight lines.
Well, there's no
It's-
cornfields in the Middle East that I'm aware of. Anyway.
Well, this would have been in Turkey.
I rest my case.
So in any case, so if you're collecting, a series of ancient coins, you want a typeset, this is the type of coin you have to have because it's the first coin. So literally,
So
you can start with Chrysos, but this is really the beginning.
okay, so if this is truly the beginning, how attainable is it for the average person?
In small denominations like this, it's relatively easier. It's harder with the striated line types. There's ones that are blank that can, that don't have the striated lines, but I don't like those as well because they just seem kind of boring. The striated types has always been considered the first coin. In small denominations, the estimate here is 3,000. It probably will go for around $4,500. Not including the juice. Staters, they're unattainable for most people. Those things go for $30,000 to $40,000. But in a smaller denomination like this, there's a good chance of getting them. And if you get ones that don't have the striated lines, they can go for as little as $800 to $1,200. So
very
so they are
attainable.
attainable in smaller denominations with less of the striated lines.
Sure.
So moving on, we're going to do what I think is a very cool coin that doesn't come up very often.
Strawberry?
It's lot 366. And this is actually a coin before Ptolemy the First took over Egypt. The very last pharaoh of Egypt actually issued a coin.
Nectanebo?
Yep. Nectanebo the second.
Oh, sorry, I'm not good with my.
So, and the reason he did it is because he actually was paying Greek mercenaries to fight in battle for him, and so obviously coins were being used at that time, and so he had to pay them somehow. And so this is one of the only ancient coins it is the only ancient coin issued by a true Egyptian pharaoh, and it actually is the only coin that has a hieroglyphic on it.
So what is the hieroglyphic on it? What does it mean?
It means good gold.
Oh, okay. Because that is what it is. It's gold.
That's what it means. So these don't come up very often, extremely rare. There is a better quality one of this one that came up about 2 years ago or a year ago that brought crazy money. I think like $750,000, something like that.
Oh, so the hieroglyphic is it's a necklace.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's obviously it's a glyph, and he was using it to pay Greek mercenaries that were used to accepting coins. So
no, I was just trying to figure out the symbolism on it because it is that necklace, but it has a heart behind it and a windpipe. Clearly not part of that, just part of the person wearing it.
It's true. It's true.
No, and it could look like a strawberry,
and it could look like something else, but I'm not going to go there.
No, I wasn't even talking about. I thought it looked like a strawberry.
I guess I could see a strawberry there.
That was my first reaction was, wow, a strawberry.
Yeah, I could go with that.
Okay,
I could go with that. I mean, I've always said like Ptolemy the First was the first person to bring coinage to Egypt, but he really did it. So technically, this is the first guy who did it, but he wasn't really bringing it to Egypt. He was doing it to pay
the pharaoh.
mercenaries.
He was already there.
Right. Whereas Ptolemy actually brought regular coins to be used. I mean, this is a guy paying gold to his mercenaries, where Ptolemy actually brought bronze coins, silver coins, and gold coins for the whole public of Alexandria to be spending throughout Egypt at the time.
And it's a pretty decent sized coin too.
Well, yeah, it's a stater. So that's a good sized coin for sure. Yeah. I love this coin just for this historical significance. I think it's amazing. And again, something that doesn't come up very often. And I think it's something that, regardless of whether you can afford something like this or not, I mean, the fact that we can know about this historically is so cool. And this is the beauty of numismatics, is that we don't have to own everything, but we get to see this stuff come up for market and get to appreciate it. Mm-hmm. And if you're in New York and you get a chance to look, if you guys live in New York or you're going to the show, you're coming to the auctions before the show, go to C&G. It doesn't cost you a penny to go and do viewing. You can sit down and you can actually hold this coin. There's nothing to say that you need to have credit or that you're even going to buy the coin. You can sit down and study this coin and hold this coin. And so I think everybody should take advantage of that, whether you can afford it or not. That's how you learn. And, you know, all these guys who sit online and they never hold coins and they have opinions about things. The only way you're ever going to learn is if you hold the coins yourself. And so going to these auctions and having the opportunity to actually view them is huge. And so I strongly suggest that any of you that are in that New York area to be able to go to the viewing, look at C&G's site. They'll show you, they give you all the times. You have to fill out a piece of paper saying that who you are, And so they know that you viewed, and you can go through the wholesale and view the whole thing. And that goes for Heritage and every other auction across the world. They always have viewings for big public auctions.
Well, and I will give you a little advice as well, saying that if you're at a show and there's a dealer that has something that's really nice, if you want, excuse me, if you want, you are more than welcome to sit down at that table. And if the dealer's not, tremendously busy, you can ask to see it. And as long as you're sitting there, they'll generally show it to you.
Oh, yeah. For sure. For sure.
You don't want to waste people's time, but at the same time, they're happy to show it to you.
Absolutely. Let's go to the next coin, Mike. For you, it's lot 470 for you provincial lovers. This is a this is a medallion. So these were given out. They're kind of special issues. They weren't necessarily meant for circulation. They were used to give out as gifts or to commemorate an event or for winning a contest. But this was actually done under Gordon III between 238 and 244 AD. And this would have been done in Lydia Sardis, which is part of Turkey, modern day Turkey. So this was the Greek provinces run under the Romans. This wasn't even a necessarily circulated coin, but was done it's a medallic coin. You can see that's 39 millimeters in diameter.
Big coin.
It's a big coin. And what's really cool is that you have the full zodiac on the reverse going all the way around.
That's cool.
Which is really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, the detail on this one is pretty good.
It is. It is. And we may talk about medallions in our educational section, so stay tuned. I like to tie all this stuff in,
I will tell you that I saw a really interesting YouTube video this week that showed a guy taking an ancient coin and, I forget what the wooden stick that you use to kind of, work at the surface on it is called, but you could
a toothpick.
Well, no, but I mean, this was like, maybe it doesn't have a name, but it looked more like a chopstick than anything else. And it had a really sharp edge on it, and he was just kind of working it. And
yeah, I have seen
when
those
he
before.
was done with it was just, it was amazing, and it was just really cool to watch. So those kind of things, I always encourage, people to look at that kind of stuff. Watch how, as much as you can, try and see how they're made. And see how they're restored, and in these cases, especially see how they're restored.
See, and here's, I want to make another point about bronze coins right now. You can even see here, it says in the description, it says smoothing. Every ancient coin is cleaned. Every single ancient coin is cleaned. Bronze coins cannot be cleaned like silver and gold. They can't always be cleaned chemically. Okay. Right. So a lot of times they have to be cleaned mechanically. And so it's going to be really hard to get a scalpel in there or the tool you just mentioned and be able to not hit the surface. In my opinion, most bronze coins have some kind of smoothing in them somewhere. If you submit to NGC, this is where I think NGC really should maybe change their structure a little bit or their threshold, because anytime now they're putting those comments on the slab, they put smoothed or tooled or whatever. In my opinion, tooled is like if you're adding hair, you're adding details that don't exist anymore.
Right.
Smoothing in the fields to me is no big deal. It really isn't, unless you're taking a completely worn coin and you're raising the surfaces so much that you're trying to make the whole thing pop over the top. But if you're just cleaning it and some of the fields get smoothed a little bit, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit is one thing. It's not like you're taking a coin that's massively corroded, changing the surface. You're basically uncovering the surface is really all you're doing.
Well, and I bring that up because I had a client reach out to me who hadn't bought from us since like 98, and supposedly he bought a bunch of bronze coins from us at one point, and he was disappointed because he said he sold everything at Heritage, and Heritage has everything slabbed, and a lot of the coins said smoothed or tooled or something like that, and he said he he said he lost a lot of money, and he said he learned a lesson. And I thought, yeah, you learned a lesson. You don't have heritage sell bronze coins. They're much better at selling gold and silver than they are bronze coins, unless you have some major rarity. And in fact, if you go through the newest New York sale for their platinum sale, it's all gold and silver. They have one bronze coin in there, and it says surface altered. And so,
well, what I love about this one is it has both roughness and smoothing.
right.
I mean, that's your description.
Right.
That's kind of from one end of the spectrum to the other.
But where people get hurt, this is living and dying by the slab, right? So because people who are really into buying slabbed ancient coins through places like Heritage and Stacks and other people that just deal in slabs, they're paying for that grade. They're paying for that star. They're paying for that surface strike. And whenever there's a comment on there, it's always negative. And as soon as it has that negative comment, they downgrade the surface like big time, and then nobody wants to buy it. Why? Because people who are buying slab coins in general are buying coins that have high designations on the slab.
Well,
that's what they're paying real money for.
They're also they're buying a slab, not the coin. I mean, it truly matters more to them what it says on the slab than what the coin looks like. And I think that's a disservice.
I think it's, and again, I'm not people always think I'm against slabbing. I'm not. And if you knew,
if you only knew,
you'd be even more surprised.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that, I understand why they put it on the slab, because they really want to express why. But I think you just downgrade the surface. You don't have to say smoothing. You could just downgrade the surface if they feel that there's smoothing on there. If they feel the coin is completely tooled to the point where they're creating something new, don't slab it.
Right. I mean, if it's detrimental to the coin, call it out for that.
Right. Well, I just think there's a happy medium. I think you can downgrade the surface, but you don't have to call it out, because you've already done that in the surface call. As soon as you put that comment on there, you're killing the market value because it's in the slab, because now clients don't want it. And if you bought this coin raw and then submitted it, now they're going to put smoothing and give it a 2 out of 5 for surface, and somebody's going to be really upset that they bought that raw and then put it in a slab. This coin doesn't need to go in a slab. And if they're going to keep grading the coins like that, then they're really limiting their market of what can be slabbed.
Well, maybe it'll be a self-correcting mechanism. I'm just saying that it doesn't make sense to me, that people could put more faith in the plastic than they do in I mean, all you got to do is learn to look at the coin.
I mean, look at this coin. This coin is a very cool coin, cool history, beautiful provincial type, that has all kinds of cool iconography on it. And the last thing that I'm going to look at is in this description here is the fact that it says smoothing. To me, I don't care. That's the last thing I look at. But when I get it in a slab, I don't have this full description to look at. All I see is the fact that it says smoothing on it, and it sounds negative, and so I don't want it. This coin is published in RPC, which is Roman provincial coinage. This is published in the book. So if it's such a horrible coin because it got smoothed, why is it in the publication on Roman provincial coinage?
Why is it a plate coin?
Right. Exactly. They need to restructure how they handle that, because they're doing a disservice to the people that are want to put bronze coins in holders. So my 2 cents on that. Moving on, and for those who think I don't like provincial, I like provincial. So somebody actually commented on one of the YouTube that I don't do anything with provincial, and I'm like, I always mention provincials. You just haven't listened. I always bring provincials up.
Listening is a skill.
So if I go to lot 476,
Hail
I love
Caesar.
this type. This is an amazing type. I know it's an expensive coin, guys, but this is one of my favorite Roman coins in the whole series, and it's also provincial as well. But so this is right after uh, Augustus becomes Augustus. So this was issued right after he took over Rome, and the reverse of this coin is modeled after an actual the signet ring that Augustus wore on his finger. That Sphinx was on his finger, and they carved that, and it was supposed to be a symbolization of him defeating Egypt or Cleopatra and Mark Antony, and defeating and conquering Egypt. And so it's so cool that that's the symbol that he wore on his ring finger,
Right.
and it's on a coin.
Well, it was his biggest triumph. So,
For sure.
that's very much of the period.
Well, that was the last stronghold, right? Is
Yeah.
defeating Mark Antony and Cleopatra.
So this is the first of the coins of Augustus. Everything before this is Octavian.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, there was other issues that were going on at the time, but this one it just happens to be for symbolizing for Egypt, but issued in Asia Minor, which is in Turkey. So anyway, so that is our auction preview. It's really hard to always find a Doofus purchase, and so again, if you hadn't seen the hats, there we go.
There you
And
go.
so,
Yeah. Check this out. Don't be a doofus.
don't be a Doofus, as I like to say.
Yes. I think we sold those out, didn't we?
No, I've got
Hats?
some left.
You still got some left?
Yeah.
It's a nice hat.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah,
hat.
thanks for those of you who bought them. If anybody wants to buy one, they cost me $36. I'm charging $40 because of the shipping, which actually I'm losing money because it actually costs more to ship it than what anyway, it doesn't matter.
That's funny.
But if you want one, you can email me, you can hit me up on Facebook or Instagram, and you can send PayPal. Whatever, we can work it out. You can send me a check if you guys want one. I also ordered shirts, which they should be in soon. And it basically has the logo on the front and it says, "Don't be a doofus" on the reverse or on the back of my shirt. I'm talking Coin Talk reverse. So, and I think the shirts will be around $20 a piece, something like that, plus shipping.
But
Not sure what.
I will tell you, this man buys nothing but quality. So understand that you're going to get a nice shirt.
Yeah. And hopefully I might even have some in New York. I'll see if I can tuck some away in my suitcase.
There you go.
And some hats as well. See if anybody wants to buy. If you want to buy some, just let me know. I'll bring some to New York as well. Anyway, let's talk about the Doofus purchase. I hate to always have to pick on Heritage, but I'm going to have to because that's where I usually find a lot of my Doofus stuff. It's just easy.
It's just easy.
I mean, and they can't really get mad because they sell coins for in certain parameters, situations, they sell things really expensive. So if you're the consignor, you're really happy, right? So
that's true.
But
so we're back to Augustus.
Yeah, this isn't a grossly expensive coin, but this coin, if I had this in my trays, I wouldn't ask more than between $1,000 and $1,500, somewhere in that range.
Okay. And that's
I think 4,400 is all in. I think 4,400 is all in for that. That is not a nice coin. And what I hate, and this is where it's always confusing to me, is the fact that it's strike 5 out of 5, surface 3 out of 5. I would have, downgraded the strike. I never understand. And I guess they're saying like this is a great strike for a fine, but it's kind of counterproductive in the way I'm thinking of what a strike should be like.
Well, it's kind of like proclaiming the world's tallest midget.
Maybe.
No, I mean, I guess saying that it's like they're identifying it that way, but when I look at it, I don't see a tremendous strike.
No, but what they're saying is for a fine that this is a great strike, which maybe it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for a VF, it's a horrible strike.
we used to get a lot of coins out of India that look like this. This is a circulated Ori, which is unusual because most
Right, they're
gold and silver
treasury
coins
coins.
are treasury coins. So this was actually really was circulated. This got around,
Yeah.
and most likely it could have gone through India because when the Roman Ori went through India, a lot of it does come back very worn. So, and with holes in it and all kinds of
I
stuff.
mean,
So it's a good chance it came out of there.
maybe they're looking at the legends and saying that the legends are clear.
I think they're just saying that it's for a fine, it's great strike.
Oh man, that's that. I
So,
think that's taking liberties, and I am not an ancient coin expert.
right, right. So, it's a common. There was another coin in here in the sale that brought 3,300, a little bit more interesting reverse, but just as ugly. So, but somebody's overpaying here. Don't spend that much money on a coin like this. It's just
No,
not necessary. You can find lots of gold Ori of Augustus like this. I know he's one of the 12 Caesars guys. Doesn't matter if it's in a holder. You can buy a coin like this, put it in a holder all day long. You can buy it raw and do it yourself. You didn't need to, buy it it's like buying it in the box already, right? And overpaying for the box. It's okay to put it in the box, but you put it in the box. Don't buy it in the box. It makes no sense because this kind of stuff is available everywhere. Not hard.
Friends don't let friends be doofuses.
That's right. That's right. So anyway, it's not a major doofus, but it's a coin that a lot of us could afford to buy, not at 4,400, but at say like under $2,000.
Well, at the correct price.
And there's no reason to spend this kind of money on this type of coin. But kudos to Heritage and kudos to the consigner who made a lot of money.
And a very desirable coin. That it is. I mean, nobody's going to argue whether or not it's a desirable coin.
It's desirable for the money, right? If you buy it for the right money, because most of us can't afford Ori. Even $1,000, even $1,500 is a lot of money for somebody to be spending on a coin, right? But if that's all you can afford and you really want an Ori, this is the one you'd want to get. Maybe this one or Tiberius or even Nero. But any of those first three emperors are relatively easy to get in low grade. You just have to be a little bit patient and looking. They're always in the e-sales. You can find them throughout the world in e-sales. They're not hard to find. And maybe for some of you, if you want, go buy them in e-sales, throw them in a holder and give them to Heritage. They obviously can get you some strong money for it. So, but I wouldn't say it's a guarantee, but some people go that route. So anyway, that's the doofus for the day. So, I guess it's time to get to our educational section, Mike.
Yes, it is.
And I decided to go
Hawaiian.
I'll wait till you get there. There you are.
Bam.
So I decided to do it on Roman medallions and contorniates because they were really given out. We talked about it before with one of the C&G lots. Medallions, they were not coins that were in circulation. They were special made pieces, just like they are today. And they're given out for events, winning contests, or maybe gladiator games or races. They were given out by emperors to high what do you want to high officials in the army, in
high-ranking
large
officials.
in denominations. We talked about a Constantine the Great gold medallion that was there, and I'll show another one here. The contorniates, it's actually comes from the meaning it's contoured, because the contorniate, you can see that edge on the right side. It's the right one there. It has like a little edge to it, and you'll see when you get it, those are the contorniates. And contorniates were literally given out as gifts. And so these all really could have been given as gifts on some level. And because we're in the holiday season, I thought medallions and contorniates.
Gifts are definitely an issue of the season. So let me ask you a question. So is the edge that you're talking on this kind of like a grailed edge, or is it just an edge treatment that goes around
Yeah, it's just you'll see it. It's just a beveled edge, and you'll see it when we get to the coins. You'll actually see that edge to it. What's really cool. So the one on the left, if depending on how you're looking at it, I suppose. So that's actually a very famous gold medallion that's in the Walters Art Gallery, and that's Alexander the Great. And oops, one second, I flipped to the wrong one. There we go. And this was probably issued under Severus Alexander in the 3rd century AD up to around Caracalla, in that range. And when they found this, they found these in Egypt. It was in a hoard in Egypt in, maybe the turn of the 20th century, like 1910, 1920, something like that. And it comprised of 20 similar medallions, and they're now dispersed in different museums all over. There was 18 gold ingots, 600 gold coins, and other things. But if you go to the Walters Art Gallery, I think they have like 4 or 5 of the medallions. They're huge. I mean, they're really big medallions, and they're unique. They're unique. They don't come up anywhere else. And I actually, if you get to go to the, I was so silly because I've been to Baltimore. I'm there every spring and every fall for the coin show,
for the Whitman
coin show. Yeah. And the Walters Art Gallery is literally like about a 25-minute walk from the convention hall. And Walters, the museum, and when we went on Thursday, it was free, which is even crazier. And it was one family, and they basically, during the golden age of going and raping and pillaging countries, that's what they were doing. Amazing collection of ancient vases, Greek vases, Egyptian coins, I mean everything. And they have these medallions there, and really a treat to go to this museum and to see these things in person. I mean, they're stunning. So and again, none of us can afford that because it's in a museum.
No.
So not happening.
But that's what museums are for.
That's right. That's what the show is for us to look at pretty things.
That's right.
Like the next one.
That was subtle.
We actually remember, Mike, we profiled this on a earlier podcast.
A very early one.
No, this was in the spring. This one came up in NAC, and this is Probus.
See?
Medallion that's issued between 276 and 282 during his reign. And on the reverse of the coin, that's him crossing probably the Rhine River to go and fight the German tribes. And I actually held this coin in my hand when I was viewing when I went to Switzerland, and I actually bid on this coin. I was the one of the underbidders on the coin, didn't get it, but I tried. And it went for, I think, 2.3 million hammer.
I was going to say, she's a beauty.
Commission. It's actually one of the most impressive gold medallions I've ever held in my life. It was almost like 3D holding it. The faces on that thing just popped off. They were so minty. It was amazing. And though Probus isn't the most exciting emperor, just the iconography on this thing, I mean, that's Hercules standing behind Probus on the obverse. You can see the club of Hercules and the lion coming down just below the wand.
Yep.
Or the scepter, I should say. And if we go to the next one, which sold at C&G last January, this is the largest medallion ever sold since the 20s. So this actually, and this was a 10 Orei medallion. It was massive, and really incredible. Also, it was in a slab, so we didn't get to hold it, so that kind of stunk.
So how big is this, Aaron?
But in my opinion, the Probus one was far nicer.
Aaron,
yeah,
how big is this one?
So the Probus probably about that size.
Can't see. Looking at the slideshow.
Oh, bigger than a silver dollar.
Okay.
And very thick. They don't have the millimeter size on here.
Sure.
So,
But I mean,
but
at least it gives you, it's kind of like a Gold Eagle, something along that size.
it's bigger than a gold eagle.
Okay. Maybe more like a Centenario.
Yeah. And these things weigh a ton. So, the Probus medallion weighed 26 grams. It was smaller than the 10 medallion. So I would say I want to say the Diocletian medallion was in the 50 or 60 gram size, something like that. So,
And this is two in
but
a row for me.
what's that?
That's two in a row that I was able to attribute.
Yeah, there you go. Well,
Yeah.
it says right on there, Diocletian. Good
Well,
job.
they all say on them what they are. Though.
That's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. So, and actually this one sold for less than the Probus one did, just by a little. So,
This
but
one looks it. This one, the surfaces look minty and nice.
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It definitely was cool. It was definitely cool. But in my opinion, the Probus one, holding it, maybe because I got to hold it with my bare hand and not through a plastic, made a big difference for me. But it wasn't as flashy as the Probus one.
Well, it's like I am always going to feel a connection to the gold Idmar.
Right.
Always.
Right.
Because I was able to hold it in my hand.
Right. Right. No, I get it. I get it. So if we go to the next slide, we have Marcus Aurelius here. And what's really cool about this medallion is you have Marcus Aurelius presenting Lucius Verus. They're actually standing and kind of sharing victory between them with a trophy. So, just very cool. When you have these large medallions, you have so much real estate to really make something incredible.
Yeah, and so, what do? They make pictures of guys standing around congratulating each other.
Yeah, for winning wars. Right.
Yeah.
Right. We go to the next one. Provincial guys, see, I'm there again. Provincial. So here's a provincial medallion. There are a lot of provincial medallions out there. This one's under Elagabalus and this was issued in Mysia. And you have Hercules on the reverse, conquering the Nemean lion. So that Nemean lion looks a little weak, but
well, he's got it by the back paw.
He's got it by the back paw. But you guys got to remember, these are the provinces. The die cutters weren't as good. There were some good die cutters in certain areas, but in general, they're the provinces. They're provincial die cutters. They're not as good as the imperial ones. So you do always lack a little bit more artistic merit, but that makes it cool in a way. In some ways, even better. So, there are a lot of like I showed you guys some very expensive medallions. I'll show you some more expensive medallions. I'm showing you the best because that's just fun. But there are a lot of medallions you can get out there that are very inexpensive. You can pick up a medallion. It's not going to look pretty, but it's going to be $500 to $1,000, maybe less. Obviously the cheaper you go, the less it's going to, the less quality is going to be. But in general, there are a lot of medallions out there because there was a lot of contests. There was a lot of reasons to issue these types of things. And so there was a lot made. We go to the next slide. This is Antinous. You know who Antinous was, Mike?
No, actually, I do not.
He is the lover of Hadrian. So when Hadrian went on his travels, he had Antinous, which was his lover. And Antinous died when he was in Egypt. Maybe eaten by hippo, not sure.
Okay.
And of course, then Hadrian issued a lot of medallions and a lot of coins in Antinous's name.
Sure, as a tribute.
Yep. And so here's Antinous on the obverse, and you have a horse prancing on the reverse. And again, these would have been struck provincially at the time. And you can even see it was gilded. See that yellow colored? Yes. So it would have been bronze and then covered in gold gild. The whole thing would have been.
But not alloyed. It was just gilded.
Yeah. And so it was made to look like it was gold, but it wasn't. So would have been a fantastic piece when the full gilding was there at one time.
Yeah.
Would have been really impressive, but it is what it is. So, and if we go to the next slide, here's a really, really cool medallion of Constantine the Great. Here you have Constantine with his horse, and on the reverse, you can see Constantine standing above with all of his troops around him, and he's holding a trophy for winning whatever war he just won.
Well, and there are
So,
several in the background too.
right, right. So really amazing thing. So large silver medallions like this or gold medallions, these were really probably given out to the military as a large gift. So you don't want to give them a bunch of aurea, you give them make a beautiful medallion. So there's an excellent chance that Constantine the Great may have held this coin in his hand.
And look at how nearly perfectly it struck.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an amazing thing. It really is. I mean, it's incredible. If we go to the next slide, this is a piece that actually my company handled twice. We tried to sell it in 2 Gemini sales. This is actually a Byzantine medallion that it's all ancient, even the jewelry. That was struck to commemorate the wedding of Tiberius II, Constantine's daughter, in 582 AD to a military. I think his name was Germanus. I think it was his name. And there's an interesting story behind this, and it's now almost, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago when we handled it. But this was owned by a gentleman who supposedly found it, and he held it in his pocket in his front shirt pocket for 10 years. And it broke, like the jewelry part broke. Some of that webbing on the bezel broke from being in his pocket. And when we got the piece, we actually got it restored, the bezel part.
Oh, okay.
And because it was actually broken. And the client who owned it, he wanted like $2 million for it at the time, which was way too much money. And this is before coins were really bringing crazy prices like they used to, and like they are now. And the coin, we couldn't sell it twice. We tried it at like 2.5 million, then we tried it at 2 million, went unsold twice, and then we had to give it back. And I think eventually it sold for like less than $1 million through Roma or one of the auction houses. So sometimes being greedy doesn't pay off. So, and what was really interesting is I knew a guy who would have bought it for 1.5 million, or at least $1 million plus at the beginning. And then after it went through 3 sales, he said he wasn't interested anymore because nobody wanted it, and he didn't.
Well, yeah, he'd have taken a bath on it too. So good for him.
Well, not if he had it today. I think today it would probably bring strong money, but it's an interesting story because I know all the info on it, so it makes it more interesting in that regard.
Where the skeletons are buried with this one.
Right. So if we go to the next slide, we're going to get into the contorniates, and you can see how the rim is.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what they were talking about, the contours. It completely looks different than what the medallions look like.
Well, these were very deep.
It is, yeah. And these were given out as contests. They were also probably given as gifts on New Year's Eve. So, there's lots of reasons for these types of things, but again, it's kind of, good for our gift giving portion since we're in the holiday season. So it fits really well. But obviously this is a whole horse racing medal type scenario here, and this is issued in the 4th century. A lot of these contorniates were issued in the 4th and 5th centuries AD. And there's actually a book written by Adolphi on these contorniates, actually, so recording quite a few of them. If you go to the next slide, of course, in most contests, Hercules is always going to be used. And so here you have Hercules on It's actually probably Alexander as Hercules, like kind of like the tetradrams.
Sure, because you see
And
the lion on him,
yep.
so that's
hmm
clearly Hercules, but it's not.
And then you have the horse racing, probably the Circus Maximus on the reverse. That is the Circus Maximus on the reverse, actually. Um, and so just amazing coin, and would have been really wonderful to be given something like this in ancient times.
Mhm.
We go to the next slide. Here we have a contorniate of Nero. And again, we have a amphitheater scene on the reverse with the gladiator fighting an animal, and then you've got the people in the amphitheater, probably the emperor there with his dignitaries on either side.
Yes, cheering him or not.
Or not.
Yeah.
Maybe he's doing thumbs down like in Gladiator. Who knows? So, and then if we go to our last one, here's a very low grade. This was available in our last catalog. We didn't actually sell it, probably because it was too ugly for people. But but again, it's the same type. That's the type we just had 2 slides ago, just in lower grade.
Wow.
And so that's again,
Yeah,
you've
you
got
can see
the
the horse race
amphitheater
going
scene.
around, and
Yep.
yeah,
But that's the same issue. If you go 2 slides up,
yeah.
Mike,
Here, let me do that. That's
there's the
amazing.
coin in high grade, and then goes 2 slides down.
Yep.
There's an
Before and
ugly
after.
version of it. So everything has a price, right? This was actually offered by Ed Waddell in 1986. Came out of a collection that we handled 2 catalogs ago. And but again, you can always find cheaper coins with lesser quality. They're out there.
That
So
one has
just have to
seen a
look.
rough life.
Yeah, but now that you can see the high grade version of it, and then you go down and you see you can see it now, right? If
Yeah.
I showed you this coin first, you wouldn't see it.
Oh no,
But
you're right. I mean, I absolutely saw everything in it just because I recognized what it looked like. So, um,
exactly. Exactly.
it's like I've said, osmosis will take over at some point for me, but yeah, I can definitely see where I'm picking some of this stuff up.
Right. But like, look, the 1B2 up what probably went for 20,000 or more. And this one we were asking $2,000. So again, it's all relative, guys.
Sure.
You can always find, and we didn't sell it. So maybe it's not even worth 2,000. Who knows?
Right.
So anyway, that's our gift giving contorniate medallion presentation for the
And as for
holidays.
gift giving, we like to give education, which is the gift that keeps on giving. And with our educational segment always comes our pearl of wisdom.
It does.
So
It
the
does.
pearl of wisdom for our necklace of knowledge this week, Aaron, is what?
It's okay to play the field. You don't always have to focus on collecting a series. And I had this come up with a client, you know who you are. We were talking about this because he had gone to a coin club meeting and he was asking how to collect ancients. And they said, well, pick an area, pick a series and collect it and focus on it. And I think that's okay on some level, but in my opinion, it's better to collect eclectically than it is to focus in one area. And the reason I say that is um, if you're if you're looking to buy the best quality you can for the money and hopefully make money or get your money out later, it's better to be eclectic because then you're going to buy the best coins available that you can get at the time. And you'll have a collection that is really much more interesting to the dealer or the auction house because you have, when somebody brings us a collection and they focus in one area, let's say they collected only Probus, and there's nothing wrong with collecting Probus. But if somebody brought me 500 Probus coins, I wouldn't necessarily want it, you know. Uh, and there'd probably be some great Probus coins in there, but then there'd be some coins that are just okay. And it might be interesting. Now, if you're doing it just for fun and for the education, which you should always just do it for
Yes.
fun and education.
Collect what you want.
But if you're looking to basically have an out plan later, you're going to be much better off going eclectically. I've had clients say to me, Aaron, pick me out a coin out of every sale. This is how much I want to spend, and I want the best coin I can get for the money, and you pick it out, and or give me a couple of choices. And I've done that for a couple of clients, and they've built some amazing collections over the years doing that.
Because you're
Instead of saying like, oh, I can only buy 12 Caesars. I
right.
can
Well,
only
you're
buy this. I can
opportunity
only buy
buying.
that.
You're looking at what opportunities are presenting themselves in that moment and buying the best thing for the money then, and not really concerning yourself with the overall picture of how it goes together. And that's, I think,
Right.
I think that what you're saying is really wise. I think that I've never quite put it that way. I thought of it from a different point of view, but it's really the same advice. And that is that when you collect a bunch of something, you're really targeting on filling holes and filling gaps. And in so doing, you're not always focusing on quality. And so when it comes time to sell, you're going to have a lot of gap filler material that just isn't going to be on everybody's want list. So like with me, it was a big thing when I was a kid to collect by date and mint mark. Everybody wanted one of everything. And I kind of took the path less traveled in that I was a type collector. I wanted one of this kind of coin. I wanted one of this silver dollar. I wanted one of this, one of this, one of this. And what it did was, for me, it made it way more interesting. And it gave me a much more rounded knowledge of, what I was looking at, what I was talking about. But more importantly, when I eventually sold off that collection, when, my kids were born and I needed money for that stuff, it's like what I sold was pretty easy to sell because they were all nice pieces. They weren't great pieces, but they were nice pieces for what they were.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's and again, there's nothing wrong with collecting series, but if you have the means to collect a lot of coins, like if somebody brings me a whole collection of, in fact, when I was talking to a client, we were talking about it. He was going to buy just hectares. Well, hectares aren't really strong right now, and some are strong, some are not. You're going to end up with a lot of coins, like you said, that are fillers because you're going to be searching because you want to collect, right? You want to have that, the part of the fun is the hunt, right?
Right.
And so, unless you go theme based, like people who collect architectural, I think is cool because that can cover a lot of different types of coins. You could even collect provincial architectural, which if you think of, there's like 600 cities that were issuing coins in the ancient times. So, there's a good chance you're going to get a lot of different territory in that regard. And that's still a series, but at least it's going to cover a lot of ground,
Yeah,
where it becomes
no
a
wrong
collective
way to
in a
do
way.
this.
Right. So I just think when you get too focused in one area, unless you're buying the best of the best, which most of us can't, you're better off being a little bit more eclectic. And maybe you say, well, I like Alexander the Great. Okay, well, then that's fine. Alexander at least is popular, and you can get there's a lot of different variations and types and things like that. That could be pretty cool, right? But in other areas, if you're only collecting one like fraction space, and you have tons of the same thing, I can tell you from a dealer standpoint, we don't always like seeing that. I'm happy to buy them. I'm happy to take them on consignment, but it doesn't make it easy because also, like, if you have an area that maybe a lot of people don't collect, and then all of a sudden you have 300 pieces that hit the market, what do you think is going to happen to those coins? They're going to go down in value.
Well, that was the other thing I was thinking of, is that if you have a bunch of one thing and they discover a horde of them someplace, your collection just took a kick.
Or a collection, for that matter.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking to a client today about, we were talking about, it was another dealer, and we were talking about the fact that the Cleopatra and Mark Antony tetradrams have really come down in price. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that there's been a lot that have come on the market in the last 5 years. And so a lot of people are satisfied with them right now, right? And so when you don't have the buyers, now what happens? The prices are going to start to come down a bit. And so, and everything goes in cycles, right? And so you just have to make sure you hit the cycle when it's at the right time.
Yeah.
But there could be somebody who has like, oh, I wanted to collect Cleopatra and Mark Antony, and then they decide, well, I'm going to dump them all right now in an auction. And it's going to make a really pretty catalog. But if you don't have the demand there because the market's not right at that moment, nobody needs to buy 5 or 6 Cleopatra and Mark Antony tetradrams or denarii. They're all the same.
Right.
You just have better quality ones or better strikes, but there's not a whole lot of variation, right? And so you don't need to have 10 or 20 of them, so you just need one of each denomination.
Quality over quantity.
Right. And so I think you're just better off being very eclectic, whether you could say, well, I only want to buy Greek coins, or I want to buy Byzantine coins, or I only want to buy Roman coins. That's fine, but if it was me as a dealer and as a lover of ancient coins, it's much better to just buy the best that I can get and be as eclectic as possible, because then when somebody's looking through your collection, they're going to see such a variety of cool things. It's going to be much more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you'll get a lot more out of it historically. And you're going to learn a lot more across the gamut of ancient coin collecting.
So wow, another action-packed episode. We have definitely given them their money's worth again.
We're at number 38, we should probably give away a hat too.
Okay,
we didn't really talk about that.
I actually have something. So we've been running a secret contest tonight, and nobody knows about it.
Oh.
So if you have the answer to the secret contest, email me. Put the subject line as secret contest, and then put your answer in the body of the text, and I'll select a winner, and they will get an Ancient Coin Podcast with Aaron Berk hat.
What's
I can't tell you over the air. I mean, we'll talk.
Okay.
So,
sounds good.
Right.
Oh, what? We'll put it in the comments. Is that what you're saying?
What are we putting in the comments? What are you wondering about?
You said they have to put in their secret.
It's a secret contest. Think about this. It's
I got you.
Right.
So I'm a little slow tonight. I've been too focused on the podcast.
Yeah. No, you leave this part to me, man. This is
Mike. You handle it. I'll just give away.
This is where I drive the bus, man. It's like, no, I got this. This is a secret contest. You figure it out. You let me know. Send me an email. We'll pick a winner.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So, so this will be the last episode for 2023. We look forward to next year and bringing you more new programming and new things to discover. It seems like after a year and a half, I'm starting to pick things up. So it's like, look, if you want to see my journey, you can go all the way back to episode 1 and you can check all that out, or you can just join along with us. I don't know that much, so you're really not going to miss too much. And
we figured it was over 40 hours of listening, even though we're at only episode 38. It's definitely over 40 hours.
We get a little talky. It's like when we first started this, it's like 20 minutes, man. You just go in there banging out 20 minutes, we'll be good. No, we just give.
Right. And you figure the next episode won't come until late January because of the New York International and everything going on.
You're going to be out of town, and it's like, we won't be together.
Yeah.
So,
but we'll have a lot to talk about in January.
And
that's for sure.
There will be a lot of cool stories, as well as probably a few Doofus purchases, of which, you never know. Right.
Never know. Maybe if they're listening to the Ancient Coin Podcast, they're not making as many Doofus purchases.
And what's your advice to them? What's on the back of your hat?
Don't be a Doofus.
That's right. So thank you to everybody for listening, and we'll talk to you next time. Anything else for them, Aaron?
Happy holidays, everybody, and to each and every one of you, thank you for your support. I wish you the best in the holiday season. Yes. If you're at the International, come by and say hi. Give me a fist bump, and we'll see you all on the other side.
Yes. Health and happiness to everybody. We'll see you in 2024.
Yeah.
So long, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Ancient Coin Podcast with Aaron Berk. We'll return with another episode soon. Meantime, you can join our private group on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com and search the Groups tab for Ancient Coin Podcast Discussion Group and ask to join. There you can become part of our community, where we share and discuss ancient coins, as well as the show, the ancient coin market, auctions, or just to give our own opinions on things in order to learn together. Join Aaron and Mike again soon for the next episode of the Ancient Coin Podcast with Aaron Berk.